What's going on, guys? 24/7 Tech here, and the XPS 13 and the Surface laptop have been distancing themselves as the top two 13-inch Windows Ultrabooks in the market for quite a while now. And in this video, I'm going to be comparing both of these so that you guys know which one you should buy for your laptop. These two have been at the top of Windows Ultrabooks for quite a while now, and because of their amazing design, display, etc., they've been at the top of the market. In this video, I'm going to be comparing them in 6 different categories: design, display, performance, keyboard and trackpad, battery, and then price and value, so that you guys have a holistic approach. Those are my 6 pillars for a laptop, which I think if a laptop meets those 6 pillars good, it's a good laptop. And I'll be comparing those and giving the winner in all of those categories, and at the end I'll give you my verdict of which one you should buy, so stay tuned for an awesome video. But before we go on, take 1 second out of this video to subscribe down below. Every subscriber makes a huge difference and it matters a lot for the growth of this channel, so please subscribe. Let's kick things off with the design, and I'll start off with the XPS 13. I love how this design looks, and it's different from the old 2016, 17, 18, 19 designs of the XPS 13. They facelifted it for 2020, and in the 2021, that same design remains, and I absolutely love it. My personal favorite is the white color, because I think it looks absolutely clean, and the overall design as well with this XPS 13 looks super clean now, since there's no more clunkiness. It's super thin. The bezel is almost uniform around. There's no more Dell logo, and the keys are a little bit bigger, and the font on the keys is better, and it's just an overall more clean laptop. It has more of a MacBook Surface vibe to it, and that's why I really like the design of the XPS 13. The actual form factor of it is also pretty small compared to like even a MacBook or a Surface laptop or any Ultrabook in general. It's really small, so you can be packing this thing. It's pretty lightweight as well, and it doesn't take up too much space. As for the Surface Laptop 4, it pretty much sticks with the same design it's been from the beginning. It's absolutely amazing though. The metal chassis with the uniform metal build is really nice. However, it's getting a bit old, I would say, definitely, because we've had this since like the Surface Laptop 1, that it's kind of getting a little bit old and maybe washed as well. The metal build is still amazing. The Alcantara keyboard is still unrivaled in the industry. I mean, carbon fiber, metal, aluminum, all of them are there. There are metal options as well for the Surface Laptop 4, but in my opinion, the Alcantara wins it all the way through, and it's pretty durable as well over time. I mean, that was a concern that some people had when they first bought it because they didn't know how it was going to hold up. It holds up pretty well. But the Surface Laptop 4 does have a great design, but both of them are a little bit different. I mean, the Surface Laptop 4 is bit bulkier and a bigger laptop. It's a 3x2 computer, and it feels noticeably bigger. Like, it's a pretty big laptop. However, the XPS 13 is a small computer. It's a 16:10 aspect ratio, and it's just a smaller form factor. So I would say this category is a tie because both of them are so different, but yet so good at the design category, but they're just completely different types of products. As for the display category, I'm going to talk about the resolution and then the option on the display. So the Dell one comes with either 1080p or a 4K display, whereas the Surface Laptop 4 comes with a 2256 by 1504 display, which is technically like 1440p. It's still a really good display, but definitely the Dell's 4K panel is amazing. It's 3840 by 2160, and it looks brilliant. The panel is super vivid, super bright. Both of them get really bright, by the way. But one of the things that kind of deducts from Dell's almost blowing win in this category would be that it doesn't come with a standard touchscreen. You have to upgrade to get the touchscreen. I think it's a $50 or $100 upgrade. I'm not exactly sure, but the Surface Laptop 4, on the other hand, comes with a standard touchscreen, and I would like that. I mean, a lot of other computers like HP's or Lenovo's, they come with standard touchscreens, and the problem with Dell is that there's a lot of options, and I'll get to that in the pricing and then later on in the video, but there's just so many options that you have to buy, and I would like if a lot of them came free with the computer itself. But still, that 4K panel easily wins us out. The winner is the Dell XPS 13. So let's talk performance. I'll start off with the Dell XPS 13 as usual, and there's an extremely low-end model which has an Intel Core i3 and UHD graphics. It's $950. Don't even consider that option, because with $50 more, you can get a quad-core i5 and Iris Plus Xe graphics, which are so much better than the UHD graphics that I've been ranting anybody who's watching these videos not to get, because they're simply not powerful, and even to run light games, it's not that great. But the $999 model comes with a quad-core i5, and the rest of them you can go to the i7, and then all of them come with Iris Plus Xe graphics, but starts at $999 to get those good ones. And I like this because the 2020 XPS 13, you had to go to like the $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 price range to get to those Xe graphics, to non-UHD graphics, and now you don't need to do that with the XPS 13. The Surface Laptop 4's performance is a little more varied. The bottom low-end models, which are $999 and $1,199, come with AMD's processors and AMD's graphics. These are the Ryzen 5 CPUs, and it comes with Radeon GPUs. These will be found in the low-end Surface Laptop 4s, and this is part of Microsoft's overall switch to either ARM-based or AMD-based. They're trying to evolve away from Intel, and you can see with the Surface Pro X, that's a product where Microsoft uses their own ARM-based chips. They're trying to kind of transition away from Intel into these, but they can't do it just yet. And the $1,299 and above models come with either i5 or i7. You can get whatever you want. Those are the mid and high-end Surface Laptop 4 models. Those processors are quite a bit better than the AMD Ryzen 5s. As you can see based on the Geekbench scores, the Ryzen 5 processors have a significant drop-off in the single-core performance, but it does excel in the multi-core department since it's 6 cores compared to the quad-core, or 4-core, found on the i5 and i7 processors by Intel. The Ryzen 5 is definitely a worse CPU than the 11th generation i5 processors. I feel like if they put the Ryzen 7, which you can get on the Surface Laptop 15, Surface Laptop 4 15-inch model, that probably could replace the i5 and i7 for the mid and higher end models, but I would have liked to see the i5 for the base model as well. I feel like that's a better processor than the AMD Ryzen 5. So the category here has to go to the XPS 13 because one, you have to pay $1,299 to get the same processor that you can get just for $999 on the XPS 13, which is why it wins the performance category. What about the keyboard and the trackpad situation on both of these computers? Both of these keyboards are pretty neck and neck. The keys are really nice. They have a proper amount of key travel. I feel like it's not too much, not too less like the butterfly keyboard, and it's perfect. The size of the keys are also really well spaced out, and the XPS 13 on the 2021 model has nice wide keys, which is something I've been asking for from a while now with the old XPS 13s, and it's here. It was in the 2020 model and it's in the 2021 as well. Both trackpads use Windows Precision drivers, but I have to give the edge to this category to the Surface Laptop 4, and it's one reason mainly, and it's the Alcantara keyboard. Even though the carbon fiber on the XPS is fine, the Alcantara keyboard is so much more warm, and when you open it, it's fine. If you've ever used a metal computer, you know that when you first use it, it's kind of cold on the touch, and it's hard to type on it. Whereas the Alcantara, it doesn't get cold. It's always warm and fuzzy, and it's always going to be nice, which is why the category goes to the Surface Laptop 4. Let's talk about the battery on both of these computers. So the Dell XPS 13 has a really nice 4K display, but the battery takes a huge hit. You can get around 6 to 7 hours of screen time with the 4K option, and with the 1080p, it's fine, you get around 10 hours. But the Surface Laptop 4 gets 12 hours of screen time, always good. Microsoft says it gets 19 hours, I usually get around 12 to 13 hours, but it's still much more than the XPS 13. This category is already hands down, Surface Laptop 4 is the winner, but I just wanted to elaborate on the 4K display on the Dell XPS 13. It's kind of a trade-off. If you want more battery life and you can save a little bit more money, you can go with the 1080p one. If you want that extra display and you're always plugged in using a monitor normally, that 4K display, I mean, if you're using a monitor, it's probably not a huge deal, but if you're always plugged in, then that 4K display might be something that you want, or if you color grade, if you photo edit, things like that, that 4K display might be good for you, but it all depends on your workflow and what you need the computer for. For the price and value category, I'm going to list a mid-range specification for both of these computers, and then compare those prices and tell you guys, how it stacks up. So let's, for the XPS 13, get a quad-core i5, Xe graphics, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and 512 gigabytes of storage. So this is going to be really good and really powerful for the normal consumer. You're going to have enough storage space, good RAM, a good processor, good graphics, and with the 4K display, that's going to run you $1,649. And then on the Microsoft Surface Laptop 4, the same specifications, pretty much same thing except a lower power display since there's no 4K option, will run you $1,499. So it's a $150 price upgrade with the Dell XPS 13, and then there's one main reason why it's quite a bit more expensive. To get options like the 4K display or the frost white color, you always have to pay extra on the Dell. The 4K display is going to cost you $300 extra, and just to get the white color, you have to pay $50 extra, which I think is outrageous because usually colors are just normal. You can pick which one you want. On the Dell, you have to pay an extra $50, which is surprising because usually that doesn't happen in laptops, and that's why this is $150 more expensive, because you have to pay for those extra features. However, at the cheapest end, I would go with the XPS 13. It has a narrow advantage over the Surface Laptop 4. They're the same specs, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, but the processor is better in that one, since you have an i5 and XC compared to the Ryzen 5 and the Radeon graphics. I would go Intel side on that one, but it's a narrow benefit. So if you're comparing base models, the XPS 13's pricing is probably better for the value. But since most people usually make spec upgrades and make it a mid-range computer, I would give this laptop, the Surface Laptop 4 as the winner of this category because it is the better one for the mid-range consumer. So what's my verdict? Which one should you buy? So if you look at the categories, the Surface Laptop 4 won 4 of them, and the Dell XPS 13 won 3 of them. Now, if we're comparing numbers to numbers, 4-3, Surface Laptop 4 wins. But no, this is a reason why categories are good, but you shouldn't just compare numbers to numbers. The categories that the XPS 13 won were like display, performance, and those are big ticket categories which usually you put more attention to in a computer, compared to stuff like the battery life and then the keyboard and trackpad that the Surface Laptop 4 won in, maybe less important categories. For me, stuff like performance, display, design, that stuff is number one, and then the other ones come a little lower, right? So I think that the Dell XPS 13 is still the winner of this comparison, and it's mainly because the Surface Laptop 4 isn't changing. I feel like Microsoft isn't evolving on the design that they've put back in the Microsoft Surface Laptop 1 in 2016. It hasn't changed much. Microsoft needs to start either including more display options, or making a whole design overhaul, making it thinner maybe, making the actual form factor a bit smaller by reducing the bezels. There's a lot of things that Microsoft can pick up on with other computers and put into their own computers, and there's no part that wows me anymore. I mean, before it was the design, because the sleek, elegant design was nice in 2016, 17, 18 maybe, but it's been 5 years. We've had the same design. It's time for a change. Even though the MacBook design was amazing, people have always been asking for an update, an overhaul, and it's the same deal with the Surface Laptop 4 here, which is why I give Dell the advantage here. They're up to date. They have the thinnest bezels in the industry on their computer. They have the up-to-date performance models. They're always continuing like to change their pricing and the performance to kind of adapt for the consumer. And they have a $999 model which has a quad-core i5 and XE graphics, which is something that we don't see on the Surface Laptop 4. And Dell's just more proactive, I feel like, with the XPS 13 compared to Microsoft, and it feels like they've kind of left aside their whole laptop lineup, and I feel like they should make a little more changes. The most striking product that they've made in a while, I'd say, is the Surface Pro X with the thinner design and the thinner bezels and all that sort of stuff. But the Surface Laptop 4 seems just a bit lacking, and the XPS 13 this year takes the crown for the best Windows Ultrabook, in my opinion. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, take 1 second out of this video to subscribe down below. I would really appreciate it, and it would help my channel grow. But I'll see you guys in the next video. See you.